right, aren't you guys glad COVID's over? Everybody's nervous now. Anyway, thank you guys so much for coming out. I've been looking forward to this like forever. So my name is Mary. I am actually a lesbian empty nester, okay? I have 21-year-old twin boys. Yeah, I'm just like every other mom though, except for one thing. I usually come home to a bag of dicks instead of just the one, you know? I do like a detachable penis. Some of you might have picked up on another fact. I am also biracial. So I am 1/2 Japanese, 1/4 German, and 1/4 Swedish. I am essentially like sashimi with a side of schnitzel, okay? I am Asian, but sadly, I am just white enough to be aging poorly. There's not a fuck ton I can do about that. And I am self-aware. I do realize that I am the oldest person on this lineup. I am generally the oldest person on every lineup by a factor of at least 2, you know? But I feel like sometimes these Gen Z comics, like they don't have enough appreciation for what I bring, you know? Because I can tell you what your parents really think about you. And it starts a little something like this. When is that asshole ever gonna pay his own goddamn phone bill? We are a family, but Jesus Christ. Yes, it's like just imagine the worst roommate you've ever had in your entire life, like in college or whatever, and you are that person's safety net until you die. When is this fucking piano gonna get off my back? That's what your parents think. I'm sorry. And I'm also never gonna be booked on another show with young people. So my partner and I, we actually just celebrated a pretty significant anniversary. Last month was our 30th year together. Sometimes, you know, when they find out I'm a lesbian, people think it's like, oh my God, they're like the penguins. They made it for life. But if you ever met my partner, Susan, she happens to be over there. You might think we're an odd couple because she is the nicest person you're ever gonna want to meet. She doesn't like possess a mean bone in her body, whereas I am entirely made up from mean bones, like all of it, you know. We are different in another way. Susan is a very white lady. Okay, she's very white. Susan is all the Sherwin-Williams paint chips of white. She is Adobe. She is wedding dress. She is gypsum. She is Episcopalian. That's right. She's a big Pennsylvania wasp. Okay? But it kind of worked out, and I'll tell you why. Susan is what we in the gay community refer to as a rice queen, okay? So I'm going to translate that for all you allies out there, all my breeders who brunch. I love y'all. Okay, it means Susan has an Asian fetish. And I'm going to trust you guys to keep this between us, okay? I have a little bit of a colonizer kink myself. You know, and we do a little, I don't know, like John Smith of Pocahontas. You think you own whatever land you land. The earth is just a dead game you can play. Where are my Disney adults at? We're in Los Angeles, are we not? All right, well, you know, I mean, can anybody in here name the actor that voiced John Smith in the 1992 animated classic Pocahontas?
Christian Bale.
Mel Sugar Tits Gibson! You are right, that icon of diversity and equity. He played a white dude who dragged a Native American woman off to England. I don't think it was a stretch. So, and so we do have these two boys. I don't know if there are any other parents in here. But it is kind of horrifying when they start growing up, A few years ago, my partner and I started finding random girls' clothing when I was doing their laundry, just like I used to dream of when I was a little girl. A woman's work is never fun. But anyway, and I thought, I don't know if this kid is a serial killer or a player, but she and I have been together for 30 years. We are not thong lesbians, okay? So if I find a thong, it doesn't belong to me. As a matter of fact, we were out at the beach a little while ago, and we were at this darling Italian restaurant, checkered tablecloths, Godfather music. We get seated, everything's fine. We order a big plate of carpaccio because we love it. And I do keep my phone on in case, one of my children has been dismembered. I might skip tiramisu, you never know. And the phone rings, and it's my son, and he's FaceTiming me, and he never FaceTimes me. And he's like, I gotta talk to you. I'm like, what is it I'm gonna eat, And he's like, no, I have to talk to you. So I get up, I leave the table, I go outside, because I'm not a fucking hillbilly, and I take the call. And he goes, I hurt myself having sex. When I stopped laughing, because I'm that kind of mom, I thought for sure he was fucking with me, because we will play jokes on each other all the time. But there was something about, his face, which communicated a sense of true urgency. So I'm like, okay, what happened? So he goes, I tore my foreskin. And the question came to mind, it's like, well, how big and how much? You know what I mean? And he goes, like a puzzle piece. And I go, like Rhode Island or Texas? How big, a puzzle piece? He goes, just like a puzzle piece. And I'm like, what happened? He goes, I was with Barb. Now, this is when I started spinning out, because what 21-year-old is named Barb? I'm like, who the fuck is Barb? Is she some VFW cocktail waitress from Lolita? Cigarette-stained hands touching my baby Buddha boy. It didn't turn out like that. Anyway, so this is like the most horrifying thing I've had to do as a mother, as a lesbian. I had to ask my 21-year-old son for a dick pic, sir. I am a mommy. I have to look at the owie. It is literally in my job description. So this is the funny part. So he sends me this picture, and he has it wrapped like he's some fucking Civil War amputee. Oh, God, all over it. I couldn't stop laughing. So then obviously I had to Google it, because this shit is not in my wheelhouse, Apparently, all you have to do is keep it clean and put a little Neosporin on it, and you're good to go. There's a PSA for any uncut gems in the audience. And when I went back to the table, I just couldn't eat that carpaccio. A little too close to home, if you know what I mean. So, at any rate, oh my goodness. I was going to do something else here. Now I'm trying to remember what it was. All right, well, at any rate, spooky season is pretty much over, right? I do like a vampire movie. Have you guys ever seen, there was a really great vampire movie in the 90s called Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yes.
Right? And it had Gary Oldman and Winona Ryder in it. And Gary Oldman had the hottest line in that movie. He would peer down at Winona Ryder, his lady love for eternity, and he would go, I've crossed oceans of time for you. This used to hurt my feelings, because in the 90s, I could not get bitches to go east of La Cienega for me. And the other thing is, Dracula has a type, right? It's always some wisp of a girl, some fun-sized girl with, alabaster skin. It makes a lot more sense for Dracula to come after somebody who looks like me. I mean, strictly from a blood volume standpoint, I am a lot more efficient. Why take a shot glass when a big gulp is standing right there? I am the equivalent of a vampire Costco run. So, and then Dracula would just drag me back to the castle. castle and he'd be in the dungeon and he'd go, dudes, I've got a kegger. She's in the back. I just got to wrap it up by 6 a.m. Anyway, you guys have been tremendous. You may not be able to tell by looking at me, but I am a lady who's had 2 dicks in her at the same time. For 9 months.